Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the conversation series.
Because creators are businesses.
What we do is not simple.
Give, the fans everything that they deserve.
Being creative
is like doing a 5,000 piece puzzle.
Is something that you can learn and do over and over again.
Always be as authentic as I can be.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the conversation series. I am so excited today to have Mr. Albert Whale here with me. He's an international award-winning author. He's a speaker. He's been in the cybersecurity space for 30 years, leading teams to better cybersecurity. I am so excited to have him here with me. Albert, thank you for joining me.
Oh, pleasure's all mine, and I appreciate you having me here.
I would love to dip in first to hear what got you into cybersecurity, and then we can get to the intersection of cybersecurity and entrepreneurship for you.
Oh, perfect. I started after college working on application development for a telephone company, and I took their billing system that they had created that had a 3.5-week turnaround to generate bills down to 1 hour.
Wow.
After completing that task, I showed them something that had a connection to the World Wide Web. Remember when we used to call the internet the World Wide Web?
Yep. Yeah.
And I brought in a book that was literally this thick. It was like 1,500 pages. And I said, look, I'm going to create an access point for the phone company to allow their clients access to what we call the internet. And they're like, no way, this isn't going to work. We need Microsoft licenses, and that's tens of thousands of dollars. And I said, nope, we're going to use Linux. Everything was built on Unix, including Microsoft. They took an old copy of AT&T System 5 and spun off DOS. Anyway, that's a long story. The shorter end to this is on 9/11, I got a call after the towers came down and all the planes were accounted for. And it was from the FBI asking if I would support their effort in analyzing the September 17th watch list. Okay. Now, they said to me, you're building the internet. We don't have experience there. We'd like your assistance to discover who these people are, where they come from, and whatever else you can ascertain. The list was 36 pages, double-sided in a 9-point font. How often do you get a challenge to support the national critical infrastructure in our country? I'm a service-disabled veteran of the Navy, and I was up for the task, ready to support our country and the FBI and promote better security. After I completed the task of analyzing everybody on the list, we co-founded what we call the Infragard Member Alliance. Now, I did that with the FBI, and they divorced themselves from the nonprofit so that more people would come and benefit by learning what security is for the national critical infrastructure: transportation, utilities, banking, financial, highways, utilities, and healthcare. Everything that makes our world go around. Yeah. From there, I started doing consulting internationally, and I started doing cyber internationally as well, cybersecurity, because people didn't realize what was going on in the internet. In the early days, I didn't need a firewall on my system because there were trustworthy people there. Yeah. But as the internet grew and expanded and had more access points, I couldn't account for who was logging in and who was getting access to tools that were available or resources. So I built a firewall, really good one, protected the organization. And then later on, I discovered that most businesses don't know what's going on inside their networks. Most businesses have cameras on the outside protecting the physical building. That's observation. Without that observation, they would never know who spray painted the building, who broke windows in cars, who busted into the shipping dock, things of that nature. And you need that evidence or that observation, that video, to determine who was responsible. Well, with today's tools, it could take years to figure that out. A lot of tools don't look at what's actually going on at the time. We call them reactive tools. So I built a product called It's Safe, which sits in the network to observe the traffic going in and the traffic going out. Anything that was maliciously aligned or would go somewhere we didn't want it to, we stop it. That's totally different than what we're using today with firewalls and virus scanners. And I've been saying this for a while, but virus scanners and firewalls are about 4% effective. That's miserable. That's like running your business with blinders on. What is that? See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil? Nobody does that, right? But I get calls about ransomware attacks, and I get into the facility. They don't have security. They got video cameras on the outside, but that doesn't tell them who is inside the network. And it doesn't give them the opportunity to block that ransomware attack, whereas my product will. So I'm here promoting business security made simple. We're using our tool, It's Safe, to create cyber safe businesses. And It's Safe is not expensive. We don't require additional staff members or supporting resources or anything. We have a product, it sits in a network, and we can give you access to the display, or we can manage it remotely. Pretty simple. That's why we're calling it Business Security Made Simple.
It's a big secret. I would love to hear too, with all of this and creating this product and being inside of businesses and keeping them safe, what led you to go and write your book and to go and speak and start doing all these other avenues as well?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I had the epiphany, let's use that word, of writing a book after starting personal development coaching with Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor, internationally recognized speaker, coach. He's no longer here, but my mentor signed me up, and she was the senior vice president of sales for Bob. And she told me, Albert, when you decide to change, the world will come and bring you resources that you didn't know. That would be my first book. 2 weeks after starting the coaching program, I started getting up earlier to study more. And within 30 days, I had the intuition to write my first book, which I completed in 8 weeks. That in itself, I think, is amazing. But I won a data protection award for it. And within 30 days of publishing it, I had 12 additional cybersecurity professionals wanting to be in my second book. I wasn't a writer. I was a cybersecurity professional, you know?
Yep.
But this book, #Hack2, came out 6 months later with 13, it's a baker's dozen, consultants that are certified and know what they're doing in the industry. #Hack2 was a #1 international bestseller within 12 hours of its production and publishing.
That's incredible.
That wouldn't be too bad, but I published 4 books in under 2 years' time. And I do this with divine inspiration from the universe, from, my mentors, guidance. But I didn't think that I had what it took initially until I started to do it. And doing it is the first thing that you need to try.
I love that. I think a lot of people are held back and doubt themselves. But if you just go it's fun. As funny as it sounds, the Nike saying of just do it actually comes around more than people think it does.
Yes, it does. And, those limiting beliefs come from our ego. It's our subconscious programming. Now, I'm not saying that this is bad, but we were all brought up learning from our parents, our environment, our teachers, the television, the news media. And not all of that education serves us well later on in life. That's why we need a coach. That's why we need other people, because we can't be everything to everybody, not individually.
Yeah, I think we're seeing the last 5 years a real boom in this coaching space because people are figuring out, hey, I kind of need that extra person, that guidance to be able to carry me through, especially as I want to grow my business. I want to grow myself. I want to grow in all these different areas. I can't just rely on the circle I have today or the people I've had around me for years. I need someone new to come in with a different perspective.
Absolutely, because you can't see what you're doing from the inside, but people around you that are observant and can support you, those are the coaches, the certified professionals. They're able to help guide you in a different direction. There's the high road and the low road, and somewhere you're going to meet somewhere later on, like, is it Scotland? But you may not get to where your destination is doing what you're doing today.
Yeah.
And I help people with their personal growth and development as well as a certified coach from the Napoleon Hill Institute.
With your cybersecurity hat on, many entrepreneurs feel like cybersecurity is too big or too technical of a world for them to be in. What are some of the biggest misconceptions that you hear about cybersecurity, and what are the first steps businesses should take to stay secure?
Great question. Businesses need, first of all, a risk assessment. Now, I have found that most people tend to, how do I say this? Ignore the word cybersecurity because they can't understand it. It makes their heads explode. So I'm calling it business security, because without security for your business, you won't have a business. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the business security that we're offering is a limited intrusion. It's a simple appliance that stands up a security operations center, something big that global companies use, but they don't have it safe, so they're not seeing live traffic. They're looking at reactive logs, trying to analyze what's going on, but they're missing everything that's already inside. And that's the big misconception. When I started calling things business security, it was when I discovered that most penetration tests or most assessments for organizations are done without users in the network, because we don't want to interfere with their ability to do their job. But most events in security are when the users are in the network. If you think about what happened during the pandemic, people started working from home. They didn't have a security center monitoring their traffic, their connections, their internet review. There was no security there. They have a modem that's connected to a service provider like I created back in the 90s with no firewall. It's just a network. It's a NAT translation. Maybe you have a firewall. So is it on your phone? So it's made in China. There's no firewall. There's no virus scanner. These devices can be hacked anywhere around the world from any location. As long as they have your number, they can get to you. So my CyberSafe solution has people connect to their access point in their office, and we protect their phones too. Now, that doesn't mean you have to rebuild everything every time you see a problem, because we're like an instant healing Band-Aid. We stop the connection, therefore it's not active anymore. And you can go and fix problems later at your leisure. But let's be honest. How many IT professionals are up to date on all the patches and vulnerabilities that they're supposed to fix today? I see more and more jobs for a position called vulnerability management. Vulnerability management means you're supposed to try and fix those problems. Well, we fixed it, and we're making businesses cyber safe. It's like having a cybersecurity architect in your business, but not paying them for it. It's the best gift I can give businesses, because $5 million will bankrupt a lot of locations easily. And I'd rather see small business secure because they support big business as well.
Albert, my last question for you, outside of the 4 incredible books that you have written yourself, is there a book you would recommend to everyone that has made an impact or inspired you in any way along your entrepreneur and leadership experience?
Through my entrepreneur experience, not so much, but for, changing my mindset and helping me to deliver world-class publications, I recommend Think and Grow Rich.
Right.
This is the book that we use as a resource during coaching from Napoleon Hill Institute. He was one of the richest billionaires. Well, in that time, it was millionaires during the Gilded Age. And he had gotten his wealth and saw that during the Gilded Age, there were people that were making mountains of money and others that were scraping nickels together to buy bread for their families. So he had an interview with a gentleman by the name of Napoleon Hill. He was a reporter for a newspaper, and he liked the questions and the rapport that they shared together. So he invited Napoleon back to his house, and Napoleon's like, oh, wow, thank God he did that because I didn't even have bus fare to get home. And Andrew said, look, I want to give you a project. I want you to research 500 millionaires and find out what makes them tick. Because there's a definite mismatch between some people making millions of dollars and others not able to do that at all. And I want you to research why they're successful and write a book. And you need to do that without any support from me during that 20-year investment. When he gave that offer to Napoleon Hill, he had a stopwatch down underneath the desk, and he is looking at the stopwatch. And in his mind, he's thinking, if he doesn't respond within 60 seconds, I'm pulling the offer. Well, Napoleon said, yes, I'll do it in 29 seconds, which impressed Andrew Carnegie even more. He's like, look, you're not doing this alone. I will connect you with all these millionaires that need to be interviewed. And when you're done, you're going to be richer than I am. Now, Napoleon didn't believe that. So Andrew Carnegie gave him a meme that he used to tell himself every day, to tell Napoleon to tell himself every day about how he was going to pass up Andrew Carnegie in the fourth quarter of the horse race and make more millionaires than Andrew ever did. And he still is today. Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. This is not just a textbook. This is a how-to. There's so much information here that unless you're reading it and working with it every day like Bob Proctor did, Bob used to take a page. He'd set it in a book stand and he'd read that page and he'd read that page and he'd read that page until he lived that page. And then he'd move on to the next page. We don't take that much time with them, but we will digest all of the thoughts and actions that are needed and necessary to help people develop a more positive outlook and get them moving on the track to their goals. Not my goals, their goals.
I love it. I think people are going to really...
Yours is coming right after we're done here.
I can't wait. I'm going to have it. I'm going to the beach this weekend, so it's going to be great. I'll have some reading material.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Albert, I can't thank you enough for your knowledge and your expertise here with me today and sharing your story. I so appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I it's what I do. I'm trying to serve humanity and make it a better place.
Good. Love it. I appreciate you. You guys, if you are not familiar with Albert, you don't have any of his books yet, I'm going to link all of them down below. Please go get yourself a copy. Stay in tune with everything he's doing. But as always, I will see you guys back here next time. Bye, y'all.